Good afternoon again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We'll get to the JRC in a moment, but first, disclaimers and the trigger warnings. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, pertinent links are going to be there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the massive archive link in there from Autistic Hoya. It pretty much has everything in regards to the JRC with links, PDFs, the works. We also have a link in there from Neuroplastics article where they surveyed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center's so-called behavior modification program. It's the same one that JRC threatened to sue Neuroplastic over if Neuroplastic didn't remove the article from their own website. Neuroplastic obviously refused, so please read the article and share it. Also, folks, some of us did go ahead and put together a GoFundMe on the behalf of Neuroplastic in case the JRC ever does see through with their threat. That we do have there in the description box as well, because unlike the JRC, we do not have access to unlimited funding. If you can give, that would be wonderful. I know they would appreciate it. If you can't, even if you just share it around, I know they would appreciate that as well. Trigger warnings when we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys. You're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones. Also, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity and speak on dark subjects. If your child's 16 and younger and they are watching this, parental supervision is very much advised. Now we're going to get back to where we left off. Comment 9, God help us all. There is no compelling interest sufficient to overcome the fundamental interest at stake, such that the proposed ban violates substantive due process. Let me explain this to you again, JRC. This is not a court case. Therefore, there is no need for cross-examination. This is a panel whose sole job it is to determine whether the risks of severe harm or injury are going to be greater than the so-called benefits the kids get from the device. If the risks are greater, and literally every single shred of evidence proves exactly that, then the FDA has it within their authority, as confirmed by the decision the Congress made back in 2023 to remove the device and not allow you to torture another generation of neurodivergent kids, people with mental health issues, and all the other folks that you have forced that device on since the 90s. Okay? This is not a court case. You're not fighting someone like Cheryl McCollins. You are going up against a federal department. I really don't understand what it is you're not getting here. And also, let me remind you, JRC, that the FDA has sufficient authority to go ahead and push the ban through anyway without opening things up again so that you can get your comments in. You have had well over a decade, just like our side has had over a decade, to prove your case, to present evidence, to make a case that says that this device benefits are worse the enormous risks that those devices have towards injuring kids. Real facts. This all started when the panel got together in 2014. You have had from 2014 to literally 2023, nearly a decade, to put together your case, to bring forward evidence, statistics, and studies. What you have done instead was collect a bunch of clinical small studies done back from between the 1960s to 1989. In regards to those studies, none of them mention or have anything directly to do with the GED device, nor does any of those clinical studies mention whether or not there is going to be great benefits, nor does any of the so-called evidence you brought forward show us that the device is safe. Because they're not about the device. Your original first GED device did not actually exist till 1991. So, that was a waste of time and trees. You then brought forth your own clinical study with no controls, with no follow-up, and says, well, this proves that obviously the effects are long-lasting and improve quality of life. What I read in that clinical study was the worst attempt at science I've ever seen. Okay? I've seen third grade science fair projects that make more coherent sense and has more facts and evidence to back them up than that so-called clinical study put together by so-called experts. You can't prove that they're long-lasting and that quality of life has improved because you've done no follow-up with any of the students that you placed inside that study. You cannot say that it is the GED device that made them better because, well, you've told us two confusing things. First, you told us that the GED was to supplement an overall larger treatment program. And then later down the line, you said the exact opposite, saying you tried everything else, which is a lie, but that's what you said. And then the only thing that made them better was the GED device. You had a long time to put together evidence, just like the rest of us. The only thing that this is you failed to make your case. Okay? That's it, and that's all. This is not a court case. Like, what are we supposed to do? Set up a GED device at the witness stand and put it next to a microphone and start asking it questions? Because that's how ridiculous this sounds. Well, you can cross-examine us on how you use it. You all lie. You've been caught destroying evidence more than once. You play you pretty much dodge and refuse to give evidence until someone slams their foot down and uses their authority to finally make you comply. It's ridiculous. Stop what we deserve due process. It's not a court case. For the love of God, it's not a court case. The GED device is not a human being that can be cross-examined. Last time I checked, cross-examining you does nothing but waste everyone's time and slowly, painfully killing off brain cells one by one of all the poor individuals stuck listening to your insanity. Okay? Alright, we're gonna read about half of this. One can only take so much JRC stupidity and stay sane. The government may not infringe upon the fundamental liberty interests unless the infringement is narrowly tailored to serve a compelling state interest. Here, the FDA proposes to mandate an across-the-board rule for two disorders, SIB and AB, thus removing all discretion from medical professionals to use devices which continue to be eligible for use for other illnesses, even though practitioners have found the devices effective for particular disorders where no other treatment has been successful. Oh my God. Do y'all listen to yourselves? Let me explain it to you again. In 2023, the FDA went back to the courts only after Congress passed a bill that gave them the authority to do exactly that. Okay? In fact, we're going to go ahead and pull it up. All right. We're going to pull it up because I'm tired of dealing with their never-ending nonsense. Alright, here's our favorite AI, everyone. Let's read it, shall we? In 2023, Congress expanded the FDA's authority to ban a medical device for a specific use, even if it's approved for other uses. This was a direct response to a 2021 court ruling that overturned the FDA ban on a graduated electronic decelerator device used at the Judge Rotenberg Center. The court ruled that the FDA lacked the authority to ban the device for a specific use, shock therapy for behavior modification, while allowing it for other potential uses. Here's a more detailed explanation. Initial FDA ban in court overturned. In 2020, the FDA banned the use of the GED for the specific purpose of treating self-injurious or aggressive behavior. However, a court overturned this ban, arguing that the FDA's authority did not extend to banning a device for a specific use. Congressional action. In response, Congress passed the Food and Drug Omnibus Reform Act of 2022, also known as FDORA, which expanded the FDA's authority to ban a medical device for one or more specific intended uses. This effectively overturned the court's 2021 ruling. FDA's ongoing efforts Following the expanded authority, the FDA again proposed banning the electrical stimulation devices for self-injurious and aggressive behavior. This proposal is currently open for comment with a final decision expected in coming months. In essence, Congress clarified that the FDA can target specific uses for a device even if it's approved for other uses, paving the way for the current proposed ban on electric shock devices for specific purposes. Did you see what that said, JRC? Did you see what it said? Stop making us repeat ourselves. It's a waste of everybody's time. When you do this crap and you're trying to overturn it again using the same argument. The problem with that argument is FDA went and got the extra authority to ban the device. Yes, for specific uses. Whether you agree with that or not, that is the reality as it stands right now. They actually did not have to open this up for comments again. They would be well within their authority to just push it through. But for the sake of transparency and to be fair to all sides, they opened up the comments again. Just because they opened up the comments again does not mean you get to use that same argument. Because what you were able to use to get the original ban overturned is no longer an option for you to try and get it overturned again. The loophole has been closed. You all understand that, right? But it's interfering with medical professionals and other devices, and the treatment has been successful. You have not proven that the treatment has been successful. I'm sorry, but you have not. You have not provided any evidence whatsoever that shows us that this device is successful, that it actually does promote better quality of life, that it actually does influence lifelong behavioral changes that will make things easier down the line. You've proven none of these things. The only thing you have proven about that device is that if you suddenly inflict violence on a person out of nowhere, whatever behavior they are engaging in, when you inflict that violence upon them, will stop for a few seconds. That has been all you've been able to prove. Saying that and touting it as though it is breakthrough success makes you sound more batshit insane than me. Or maybe even Ozzy at his worst back in the day right after he bit the head off a bat. Or my uncle. No, we're going to do worse. You're going to be like my uncle, drunk at the 4th of July, getting in the back of my mom's car, and demanding moon pie like he was 3. And it taking about 15 minutes to get him out of the vehicle so we could go home. That is the level of stupid you all are looking right now. Your loophole has been closed. You cannot use it again to get this overturned. The jig is up. Okay? You stamping your feet and screaming, "It's not fears," is not going to make someone magically go in your favor. Alright? I'm going to go ahead and finish this. I know I said I was going to have it, but God. The FDA would be in fact practicing medicine, thus denying the patients their fundamental right to be benefited by individual medicine. That is a lie. JRC children have a right to sane and humane health care. They have the right to be protected in circumstances where a professional individual will try to force a treatment on them that can cause them great potential harm. Do you hear what I'm saying? Somebody could run over my foot tomorrow, call it medicine, and say it was punishment for me, I don't know, standing on one foot and flapping my arms like I'm a bird. That doesn't mean them running over my foot just because they call it medicine. It doesn't make it medicine. You see how that works? You don't just get to change words around to suit you so that you can continue to make millions of dollars year after year, decade after decade, off of our pain and suffering. Okay? Nobody is interfering with individualized medicine. We are interfering so that we can make sure these kids have access to proper, safe, and humane treatment, both in their medical care and their mental health care. You know, the same kind of care that everybody else outside of the JRC has access to. You don't just get to abuse this forever with impunity and continue to get away with it. Eventually, the bill always comes due, and JRC, your bill is due now. And I'll say this. I would not want to be any of you on Judgment Day. Just saying that it causes enormous harm, second sentence here, to remove a device that has already been used to abuse kids decade after decade shows us who you really are. And by the way, it's not the FDA that says one size fits all. It's you. You see, outside of your insanity, no one believes that there is a singular treatment from an autistic person to ADHD to someone with mental health issues. And if you just use this horrifically painful zap device, everything's going to be magically better, like one of the worst, awful fan fictions one could ever hope to find, with mind-numbing, never-ending run-on sentences. Okay? And to say, it could kill them. It could kill them if you take them off of this device. You don't understand. I've worked in this field, JRC. I know bullshit when I see it. I've been in this field for a long time. as a consultant, as a professional that worked for the state, as someone who is presented on these topics all over the place, year after year after year. Okay? Your gaslighting oversteps. And when you get that desperate, when you're trying to say that we are saving kids from death by putting them in a device that causes second and third degree burns and could stick you in a coma, I'm supposed to believe that's better? This is how indefensible what you do to those kids actually are. It's because you can't defend it. Nobody could defend it. You can find me the most persuasive person that has ever lived. Hand them this 55-page comment and see if they could make it convincing, and they wouldn't be able to do it. It's just how it is. We're going to go ahead and close on this one, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel, and the few we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So if you could, folks, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Please don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye, everyone.